Well, hello, and how are you doing? I hope and trust that wherever you are in the world watching this, that you're in a good space, that you're relaxed and you're feeling somewhat good about yourself. And if you're not, that's okay, because right now I'm not. So, you know, welcome to our YouTube ASMR mental health chat group session. I don't expect anyone to chime in. If you wish to, you're certainly welcome to. That's why there's a chat. If you're curious about the photograph you just saw, well, that's a picture of myself and my dad 50 years ago in July of 1974 atop Whistler Mountain in Jasper, Alberta. I was there just before the wildfires hit and burnt down 1/3 of the town. And I was atop that same mountain, so I took a few photos where I, pretended to have my dad in my arm, and I'm going to Photoshop him in. I've got to do some work to make it look modern and real and clear. I mean, that's from an old 35mm camera, and the photo was 50 years old. If I had the negative, I would see what I could do about getting a better version of it, but unfortunately I do not. So it's a photo of a photo, a scanned photo of a photo, mind you, so it's done what it can to make it look as good as it possibly can with what was available. So, one second. Had to clear my throat. So today, it was a weird day for me. I mean, a Monday, typical Monday. Usually after a weekend, Mondays you feel a little tired and a little slow, and I did today, certainly. But the thing is, I don't understand why. Now, it was a busy weekend. Friday night was a relatively late night for me, and I was out for dinner with some friends to celebrate a friend's recent graduation. She got her MBA back in June, and it's been a busy summer, so we waited till September to do a celebration for her. Saturday was date night. Bridget and I just hung out at her place on the porch. It was lovely. We had a lovely chat. We had a wonderful evening together. Nothing crazy, nothing late night. And then yesterday was my dad's 83rd birthday. So I went over to spend some time with my folks. And my sister and brother-in-law came by with nephews. And it was a lovely afternoon. I went to bed at an early evening. I think I might have been in bed by about 10 p.m. last night. So nothing crazy. But it was a relatively sleepless night, which often happens when one is on sertraline or Zoloft, if you aren't familiar with what sertraline is. It's in many ways a very miraculous drug, and that has given me my life back. But I haven't really had a good night's sleep in years. One of the side effects is incredibly vivid, realistic dreams that oftentimes leave you in a state of confusion when you first wake up. And you realize you don't really ever sleep again. What? I think the saving grace is you don't hate yourself. You can get up in the morning, and after you've gotten over the fact that all the bizarre, vivid, incredibly realistic feeling dreams that you had were just that, dreams, you can get up and get on with your day. For the most part. And I did today. Get up. I made some coffee. I did a full production, did a full show. Took Lola out for a nice long walk. She's sleeping right beside me here in the studio. And then I came home and I thought, well, I got to do some voiceover work because I've recently landed a 10-book deal, two 5-book deals, but 10 books where I'm narrating 5 books for one thing and 5 books for another. In a different voice, of course, because they aren't looking for this voice, and that's okay. If they want this voice, I'm happy to give it to them, but they like the audition voice, so that's what they will get. Anyway, 1 second. Terribly sorry, I had to clear my throat. So I have some new work coming up, which is good. And I wanted to record something today. And my deadline is, I have lots of time, a lot of runway, but I like to get things done as quickly as possible. And today my plan was to sit down, do some edits, get some production work out of the way, and then narrate. And I was incapable of that today. I found that I was physically, emotionally drained. And I have no idea why. I can't begin to tell you why. I don't understand it. I woke up, it was a little groggy, a little rough to start the day. Had a coffee, did a show, took Lola. We had a nice, lovely walk. Beautiful day. It's gorgeous. The weather was perfect. Got back home and I had nothing left in the tank. And I'd like to say it's because of causality or blah, blah, blah. And I don't know what it was. Sometimes the brain chemistry just doesn't balance itself the way it should, despite the medication. And when that happens, we have strange, odd, bizarre, twisted things that occur. And this happened to be one of those days. About an hour ago-ish, I was sitting outside on the patio at the pub just because I needed to get out of the house and be around people, but I didn't really want to talk to anybody. I don't know if you know what that's like. If you know what it's like, just you need to be around people, but you have nothing to say. You can't talk to anybody, and you're incapable of expressing what you're going through. But you just need to be surrounded by humans. That was the kind of evening I was having. There was 2 couples sitting at the table to my left, and they were having a lovely chat, and every now and then I would chime in with a little anecdote or a joke to add to the joke they just told, or something to that effect. And they were lovely. And then to the table to my right, I'm going to refrain from expressing the feelings I was having. Sorry, I'm missing some stuff here. 1 second. There we go. One of my lights isn't working. Well, I'll figure it out later. Oh, my shirt's got a bit of a glimmer there. There's a woman who sat down and immediately started to complain about how boring it was to be here in this city. And I had thoughts about that, because this is my home, this is my town, this is the place that I love. But I kept them to myself. And there are times when you need to stand up and defend, and there are times when you can just go, you know what? There's no point. It's not worth it. This person has made up their mind, and they're not going to change it no matter what you tell them, number 1. And number 2, why bother? Why bother? What is the point? There's no point trying to talk to this person because they have their mind made up. And that was what I discovered. So I messaged Mademoiselle Fox to say, hey, this is what I just overheard, and this is what I'm feeling. She's like, go ahead and feel it, but there's no need to talk about it. I'm like, you're right. There's none. There's no need to discuss it. There's no need to bring it up. There's no need to talk about it because in the end, it's not going to fix or change anything or make anybody better or teach anybody anything. Sometimes you just need to walk away. And that was what I drew from that. Walk away. And I think maybe because I'm in a bit of a fragile state at the moment, I kind of took what she was saying personally, which is ridiculous because she's talking about the city I live in. I don't own it. I didn't birth it. I didn't create it. I just live here. And I love the city I live in. But it's open to criticism. Of course it is. As is any city in the world. Any place you live in. And I thought, if I'm taking this personally, I think this is a me problem and not a her problem. So maybe, just maybe, I need to examine why I'm feeling this way. Why am I feeling so defensive about the city that I live in? Like, why would I do that? And in all honesty, it truthfully makes no sense. I mean, why would I feel that way? Why would I feel the need to express myself in that manner? I mean, to what purpose is it? How does it solve or fix or do anything that's even remotely worthwhile? Thing is, it doesn't. It absolutely does not. And I think the lesson I can take away from this is that sometimes, this being one of those times, you just need to shut your pie hole, keep your thoughts to yourself, and walk away. Not everything needs to be a discussion or an argument or a conversation or a fight. Some things are just not worth it. And maybe that's what I'm taking away from this. I don't know. It was a troubling, trying, bizarre day, and I have no reason for it to be that way. It just was. I mean, all things being equal, my life is pretty good. Sure, I have no money coming in, and the supply is beginning to run dry, but I do have opportunities on the horizon. There are things that are coming along, and I've got, about 10 books I'm going to narrate, so there's definitely going to be something there. What, I don't know, because it's a royalty share, which is fine. It's acceptable, that's okay. One second. Apologies, needed to clear my throat. I don't know if these narration gigs will turn into anything. Hopefully they will. Hopefully I can spend my days just doing this, because this is something I love doing. Reading the words of myself or someone else, or just randomly discussing my thoughts. I can do this forever. Well, forever being in the sense that I'm no longer limited physically by this. As long as I can speak, I can do this. So if I can generate an income via this medium, whether it's from ads or subscribers or joiners or whatever the case may be, along with the narration thing, well, it makes it good, because my body is so physically broken I can't do what I used to do. I cannot go back and do construction work. I physically can't. I can't be on my feet that long. My back is shot. My shoulders are done. And it sucks because I'm not that old. But something my father said to me about 30 years ago, he says, old injuries catch up with you. And someday you'll discover this. And they've all caught up with him. And I know they will catch up with me. I'm just hoping I can get a little bit more time before I have to get a walker or a cane or a cart or a chairlift or. So lots of things happening, lots of things going on, lots of things taking place. My dad had a scare recently, and thankfully he's A-okay. He's good. Turned 83 yesterday, and I'm happy to say he's still very much himself. But he did have a health scare not too long ago, and I'm not going to get into it because he's asked me to keep it quiet, and I understand that. But he is 83, so if I say he had a health scare, everybody goes, yeah, it's reasonable. It's not outrageous. It's not crazy. It's not an insane thing to say or think or, But it was worrisome and troublesome, and thankfully he's A-okay now. That being said, things have had to change. And he's adapted to them quite well, surprisingly. Because here's the thing, my dad, neither one of my parents are lucky enough, let me rephrase that, neither one of my parents are unfortunate enough to have depression. I do. My dad is just happy to be above ground and breathing every day. And I take that away from him, or share that with him, or join him with that. I'm struggling for words here to describe the fact that I'm happy to feel the same darn way. I'm happy that I have learned from my dad that every day above ground is a good day. So yeah, here I am. Although I'm suffering, I know that it's temporary, it's not permanent, and that tomorrow is another day, and tomorrow will be better than today because I endeavor for it to be that way. It's not always easy. Sometimes it's very difficult. And I have so much work ahead of me, and sometimes that mountain of work can be a little daunting and disturbing and troublesome because I know I have projects to get done, projects that have deadlines, projects that people are relying upon. And all I want to do is keep everyone and every person, try that again, Paul. Keep everyone around me happy. Keep everyone around me never having to feel like I've felt for my entire life. I don't want anybody to feel this. However, I think it would be awesome if everybody was able to spend at least one day out of their life, just one day, feeling all the feels that one has when one suffers from anxiety and depression. Throw the ADHD in there and the OCD because why the heck not? One 24-hour period in your life when you feel what so many of us feel. And it's only for those who don't ever experience it. I just want you to feel it for one day, one 24-hour period, so you can understand when I try and describe to you what I'm going through. When I go through it. Look, I have more good days than bad days. I do. But the bad days can be really bad. Today was a tough one. This was not earth-shattering. It wasn't soul-crushing. It wasn't a bad day. It was a rough day. And for those of you who know, well, you know. Today was a rough day. wasn't soul-crushing. It wasn't bad. It was just less great than it could have been, you know? Sometimes that happens. There's not a lot I can do about that. Other than just, I don't know, deal with it, I guess. I mean, realistically, just roll with the punches. It's not, you know, to steal a line from Rocky Balboa, it's not how hard you can get hit. It's how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. Because that's called winning. I never thought I would ever quote Rocky Balboa. And yet, if you know the speech, if you know the film, if you know what I'm talking about, you know how inspirational that moment in that film was. Life will beat you to your knees. Not how hard you can get hit. It's how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. That's called winning. So I'd like to think I'm winning. Today was not a hard hit. Today was barely a tap on the shoulder. But I'm still here. I'm still standing. I'm still breathing. And I'm above ground. So those are all wonderful, great things. And if you can get up in the morning and say that too, well, guess what? I think you're doing okay. I know it might be difficult. Second. Apologies. I had to clear my throat. I know that it's difficult sometimes to remain steadfast, to remain strong, to be all of the things you need to be for all of the people you need them to be for. I know how difficult that is. And I can empathize because I've been there. But it's okay. It's okay. This feeling is temporary. This emotion is temporary. It will soon leave your body and you will feel a lot better. So just hang on. Hang in. And I'll see you soon. You take care.